G'day gamers! Ranger Tony here, back after a bit of a break with some Baldur's Gate 3. I know some people have been asking for me to play some Baldur's Gate 3. So, um, this is going to be I'm just going to play it on the Explorer level. Don't care what people think about that. Larian games, for me anyway, have a tendency to be super hard. Most of the combat is we are going to kill you and you're going to have to do this combat 2 or 3 times until you work out what to do to get through it. And this being one of probably the first game by Larian Studios, if not the first game in a long time, that actually has difficulty levels, I'm going to play it on Explorer initially. So what this is, I've been playing around with this for a couple of days, and I'm going to skip the intro. We've all seen it before. Who are you? So I have worked out a build which is very high DPS, very high damage. There's actually 2 builds that you can do this in. The one that I'm not going to play is a Lightfoot Halfling Rogue, because sneak attacks do ridiculous damage. We all know that. That's probably the playthrough that I'm going to do offline when I'm not streaming it, just to have some fun. You can do ridiculous damages with sneak attacks, and the reason why I go Lightfoot Halfling is because Halflings are lucky. And so if they roll a 1 on an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, they can re-roll it, which is pretty huge. And it gives you that better chance to do damage. But then we take Lightfoot Halfling because their stealth advantage means that when we go through our skill proficiencies here, they're going to get a plus 11 to stealth and plus 11 to sleight of hand. So picking locks and doing traps and everything, plus 11 to start with, and stealth plus 11. So you're going to be super stealthy. You're going to do a lot of, you're going to not really have much problems getting through traps and locks and stuff like that. It'll be very, very good. I would often maybe change some of this. Deception, not necessarily a big deal, but perception is useful, so I would probably throw that in there, and maybe even get rid of acrobatics and go investigation, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And I'd probably leave, well, actually I normally get rid of the 13s from here because they don't give you an extra bonus. 12 is where the bonus is, 13's halfway there. Unless you plan to add points to these later, take the 2 points out of those and put them in there so your strength doesn't have a penalty to it. And that is a damn good rogue build. At level 3, choose Assassin, which has got some really good features to it, and you're going to be an absolute powerhouse. In fact, there's times when, as with the assassin ability, where you can, if you start combat, so let's say you're at a distance and you shoot somebody with your bow as a sneak attack from a distance, because you're starting that and that surprises them, you then get a full round of combat. Like that attack was its own separate round of combat, and then combat starts. And in fact, you can find that your opponents won't know where you are, and you can just snipe every single one of them from a distance, and it's amazing. Now, the one thing I will say, grab yourself a light crossbow. Light crossbows do more damage than short bows, and you can't use longbows as a halfling. Well, not as a halfling, but as a rogue. You can see here the weapons that you get are simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. Well, included in the simple weapons is, it doesn't say, but in there is light crossbow. And you can't use heavy crossbow, but light crossbows do the same amount of damage as longbows. They do 1d8. So you're better off using light crossbows, and you find a couple of them in the prologue when you're inside the the ship. So keep one of those for yourself. Keep as many of them as you want, because they're better than short bows. Just don't use short bows. Use light crossbows. And yeah, you're going to have hell. It's a fun build to play, and you're just going to do a lot of damage with your stealth attack. And once you get to level 2, yes, you can use stealth in combat as a bonus action. So you can take a shot and then you can hide again. Or if you weren't able to hide, what you can do is at the start of the round you can hide, and then you can immediately take a shot, which will be from stealth and therefore likely to be a sneak attack. And you're just going to pump out damage, and it's only going to get better as you go up in levels, because the amount of sneak attack damage gets better and better and better and better. So that is a really good DPS build, but that's not the build we're using today. The build we're using today is a little bit maybe unconventional. It's not what you think of as a high DPS build in most games. The way the 5th edition D&D rules, which this is based on, have changed everything. They've simplified a lot of stuff, and it makes a lot of the builds that I would normally have done previously, things that I would do in Pathfinder Kingmaker or in Neverwinter Nights 1 and 2, those sorts of games which were based on the D&D 3.5 edition rules. Pathfinder split off from that and created their own rules. But all of the stuff that I've done based on those, there's a lot of different things you would pick to make high DPS builds in Melee. And you'd often build them around criticals and critical hits and stuff like that. Criticals are much simpler now. Every weapon only criticals on a 20. There's no special weapons like you used to have, that some weapons would critical on a 19 or a 20 roll, because you roll 20-sided dice to hit if you're not aware. So 19 or 20, some weapons. Most weapons are 20. And there's a few rare weapons in some of those games that 18, 19, or 20 is a crit. And then you can get extra abilities which expend that out even further. So in Neverwinter Nights 1 and 2, for example, if you went down the right path for like a Weapon Master build, which is based around crits, you could actually end up critting about 30 to 40% of the time, which is insane. And you're doing 2, 3, sometimes even 4 times the damage when you crit. And then some weapons that you could get would have crit bonuses on them as well. Absolutely insane. You're not going to get that in Baldur's Gate 3, in anything that's based on D&D 5th edition, for example. But there are a couple of things that will help you. Now, race in a lot of those other games, when you pick a race, you get certain bonuses. And initially, in the early release of Baldur's Gate 3, each of the races had their own stat ability bonuses and negatives. So, for example, halflings had usually -2 to strength and +2 to dexterity. Right? That's all gone. Larian has taken all of that out. I don't know why. It's in the base rules for D&D 5th edition, but they took it out of the game. So, in a lot of choices, when you're trying to say which race is the best race for a particular class that you want to play, like if you say, I want to be a fighter, what's the best race? Well, it no longer matters from a stats point of view, because every race will have the same stats. If I come down here and pick fighter, and we use the recommended stats, let's just make sure that's use the recommended. 17, 13, 15, 10, 12, 8. If I come over here now and I pick something like Githyanki, which is a good fighter class, a good fighter race, and I come down to abilities, it doesn't change. 17, 13, 15, 10, 12, 8. No changes at all. It's exactly the same. The only thing that is now important is the stuff that you get here with a race, the bonuses. And so, for example, you get proficiency in light and medium armor and short sword, long sword, and great sword as a Githyanki, as well as the Mage Hand cantrip, which is mostly useless. It's not implemented very well in the game, as far as I'm aware anyway. And then you get Astral Knowledge, which gives you proficiency in skills of a chosen ability. Those are nice to have things, but they're very situational, and this doesn't help you at all if you're picking a fighter, because you already get all of those as a fighter. So there are certain classes which, like, traditionally people say this is a great class for, this is a great race for a fighter, for example, because the Astral Knowledge, that proficiency in skills, can be useful, and but as a fighter, you already get all of this. Half-Orc is actually the better choice for any fighter. Well, actually, Dragonborn is good because you get the ability to use a breath weapon once per short rest, which is nice. You know, that is very nice. Half-Orc is where it is at as far as martial races, because they have savage attacks. When you land a critical with a melee weapon, you do an extra dice of weapon damage. That is the equivalent of improved criticals. No, not improved criticals. The Weapon Master feat from Neverwinter Nights 1 and 2, and I can't think of the exact name of it, but there was a Weapon Master feat which increased the critical damage of a weapon. So all weapons in D&D 5th edition, Baldur's Gate 3, do 2 times damage when they crit. As a half-orc, you always do 3 times damage when you crit. So if you ever want to do a crit build in Baldur's Gate 3, you choose a half-orc, nothing else. Now, there is, as a fighter, you get to choose a subclass at level 3. And that subclass that you want to choose is Champion, because Champion also has the ability to increase crits. It does the other thing. It changes the 20 to a 19 or 20. Right? So it expands the range at which you can crit on. So that sounds like a really good build for a DPS. And what we also want is you want great weapon fighting, because this is broken as well, right? Great weapon fighting. When you roll a 1 or a 2 on a damage roll, on a damage dice, for an attack with a 2-handed melee weapon, you re-roll that dice once. Alright? That is amazing. That weapon that is being carried there is a longsword. Now, it's not a longsword, in my opinion. And if it is, they should have added arming swords to the game. Because there was no swords that had handles that long on them. You know, halves that long. But, you know, that is a 2-handed sword. That's what that is. But anyway, that weapon does 1d10. It does 1d8 of damage normally if you use it in one hand, and if you use it in 2 hands, it does 1d10. Right? So for this, for great weapon fighting, when we use that weapon 2-handed, it doesn't do 1 to 10 points of damage. In reality, it does 3 to 10 points of damage, because when we roll a 1 or a 2, we get to re-roll. Now, chances are we could re-roll that as a 1 and a 2, but more often than not, you're going to re-roll that as a higher value. So, for all intents and purposes, that weapon is going to do 3 to 10 points of damage, not 1 to 10. And then you add your strength bonus onto that. We've got 17 there, so that's an extra 3 points. So you're looking at 6 to 13 points of damage from that weapon. But there are 2 weapons that we're going to go for in this build. The Maul or the Great Sword. And the reason is because rather than doing 1d10 or even 1d12 of damage, like some two-handed weapons do, the maul and the greatsword do 2d6. So that's 2 dice, right? So on both of those dice, if either of them rolls a 1 or a 2, we re-roll. Which means that for each dice, we're essentially rolling 3 to 6. Which means most of the time, we're going to be doing between 6 and 12 points of damage. Not 2 and to 12 points. And then add on to that our 3 points of strength. We're going to be doing 9 to 15 points of damage with that weapon, with great weapon fighting. Great weapon fighting is absolutely broken like that. Now, that reroll also works with crits. So if we have a crit build, that is going to mean that normally we roll 2d6s. If we were playing as any other race, we would end up rolling 4d6s. We now roll 6d6s as a half-orc because we get an extra dice in an extra attack, essentially, an extra amount of damage. So you now have 6d6s, each doing 3 to 6 points of damage, which means 18 to 36 points of damage plus your, measly little 3 more points of strength. But yeah, it absolutely broken. But it gets even better because we can add more damage to that. Now we can do sneak attack. You could go and jump in and you could grab 3 levels of fighter, right, which would give you the ability to choose a champion class, which would expand it so that you could do 19 to 20 as a crit, and you're doing triple damage. And then you could go down the rogue route and start doing sneak attacks. But no, what we're going to do instead is we're going to go paladin. We're going to start with paladin, and then once we get to level 3 paladin, we're probably going to dip in and get 3 levels of fighter, and then back to paladin for the rest of it. And 3 levels of fighter will give us champion. But what paladin is going to give us is the Divine Smite, right? Which we get at level 2. And the Divine Smite does bonus damage, and you can use it multiple times per day. It's not as good as sneak attack in that if you set things up right, you can make almost every attack a sneak attack. But you get so many uses of Divine Smite as a paladin, and one of the automatic triggers that you can set up is that it always asks you if you want to do a Divine Smite on a critical hit. So you're going to see insane amounts of damage when you critical with this build. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and we are going to create a half-orc paladin. And then we're going to grab 3 levels of fighter later on and make this an absolute DPS powerhouse using Divine Smite and crit as often as we can. So we're probably going to get crits about 10% of the time. It would be nice if you could get it higher than that, but you really can't. Although there are some weapons and items that you can grab which do give you an extra thing. So we might be able to bump that up from 10% to 20% of the time. We'll see how it goes, but that's what we're going to do. So this is primarily a paladin build with a few levels of fighter to keep us going. And yeah. Now, the oath that I want to choose, I don't really like the oath of the ancients just because it seems a little bit wishy-washy. You're a knight of the forest, basically. And for some reason, that just sparks off We Are the Knights That Say Knee for me. And so it seems a little bit ridiculous. And also that's sort of what rangers are supposed to be in a way. You know, they're supposed to be the protectors of nature and stuff like that. And I mean, it is nice. It is very high ideals, and kindle the light through acts of kindness. Enkindle the light of hope in the bleakest hollows of despair. Shelter the light where love blooms. Stand against the devilry that would snip its stem. Preserve your own light. Delight in culture and small joys to preserve the light in your own heart. It is definitely very nice and very poetic and everything. Now, Oath of the Vengeance, on the other hand, is a little bit dark. Fight the greater evil. Exerting your wisdom, identify the higher morality in any given instance and fight for it. No mercy for the wicked. Chasten those who dole out their villainy by wiping their blight from the world forever. And there's actually another... You have set aside your own purity to right wrongs and deliver justice to those who have committed the most grievous sins. So this is a paladin who gets down and dirty a little bit. You're skirting the lines. You're very close to... And this is the thing. If you don't follow your oath, you end up taking the oath of the... Oh, what's it called? Hang on, let me look this up. Sorry about that. Where did the... Oh, wrong one. Here we go. Baldur's Gate 3. And yeah, you become an Oathbreaker. And you still have abilities, but they're definitely very different abilities to what you had previously. So I'm going to go for the Oath of Devotion. Following the ideal of the knight in shining armor, you act with honor and virtue to protect the weak and pursue the greater good. The greater good. We get Holy Rebuke, which grants an ally a vengeful aura that deals 1d4 radiant damage to anyone who hits them with a melee attack. That lasts 2 turns. And our devotion is Courage. Stride dauntlessly into action. Compassion, show clemency when prudent, and lend your arm to those in need. Duty, tend your responsibilities, obey just laws, and support those entrusted to your care. So that is what we're going to do. I like the folk hero for this. Doesn't really matter. I like to have a bit of survival because there are a number of places around in the world where you're exploring where survival allows you to notice things out in the wilderness, and animal handling just because you can pet all the dogs. So we're going to do that, although we could change some stuff. Persuasion, athletics. I don't know that I want athletics. I think insight and perception are usually pretty good, so I might take insight. Perception, unfortunately, I'm not going to get... Well, I might actually get a bit with, because I'm going to change this up a little bit. This build is... This is one of the builds that is, like, purely melee. You really don't... Like, you're ultimately going for heavy armor and two-handed sword is the build that you want here. So dexterity doesn't do a lot for you. And so I'm just going to get rid of that intelligence penalty, I think. Doesn't really matter, but it annoys me having skills below 10. It's tempting. Yeah, I think I'll do that. The extra 1 in charisma, it does help, but it doesn't. I'll get items later on that can boost my charisma. Charisma is only really used for... Well, I mean, it is used a lot. It's for paladins. It helps with our spell casting and everything, but we don't get any bonus by it being 15. We need it to be 16, except for spells. It determines, traditionally, it determines what level of spell we can get to, but we're a half-level spellcaster, so we're not really going to get beyond about level 3 spells anyway, I don't think. Maybe even only level 2. So you don't really need a super high charisma, and since we don't get a bonus from it being 15, we only get the bonus when it goes to 16, which becomes plus 3. It's better to leave it at 14, and then that can bump Constitution up to 14, which gives us a plus 2 there, giving us more hit points. So I think that is the way to go. That's all looking good. I don't care too much about our appearance, so I might just leave that as normal, and random ends up producing stuff that's just a little bit too weird. And I thought I'd name him Athos after the Three Musketeers. I don't know why, but they sort of seem like a little bit like paladins to me. So anyway,
You need a guardian.
I need a guardian. I think it's funny that, well, I mean, no, that's fine. I was gonna say I think it's funny that half-orcs are so large, and I should pick a guardian that's smaller. But we'll just pick the half-orc one and go with that. Alrighty, first things first, get that shield off, because we want to use this weapon two-handed. As soon as we meet up with... why can I not remember her name? As soon as we meet up with her, though, we are going to grab her two-handed sword and give her this. The Githyanki.
Where the hells are we?
I have a couple of mods loaded. I'll just make that plain. One is a camera mod, which allows you, because normally you can't move the camera like that and look up. I don't know why it is so annoying, because literally there are places where if you look up, you find things,
Maybe I need more pockets.
for example, lights up in the ceiling that you can actually light up with, you know, the flame cantrip to help light the room and stuff like that. It's just, it's ridiculous that you are so limited in how you can move the camera in this game. And I've also got another one which allows me to use the arrow keys to move, rather than having to click to move everywhere. I just find that so annoying. We are going to breeze through a few things. Now, also, as a paladin, if you see me play these games and everything, the biggest thing I hate about these games, and it is going to be a big problem in this playthrough, is, you know, this thing that they've got these days where every companion they have to give you has some ridiculous storyline, backstory. They are some tortured soul. If they're not evil, then they're a good person who has, you know, a bomb in their chest. Well, or, you know, it's just, I find it ridiculous. Why can't, like, I would have liked one, and maybe there is, because I haven't actually met all of the companions, and I've looked on the wikis and I've seen what's around, but I haven't dived in too much, because I didn't want to break the backstory and learn too much. But I'd like just one companion who's normal, just like neutral good, just wants to help. They don't want to jump my bones. They're just a normal person, and they've said, you know what, I want to help out any way I can. I'll join your party if you let me, and let's go. Let's do this. I don't mind if they've got the tadpole in their head or not,
Something's on my
but it's just so annoying like sure, in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, you had the odd companion that you could bring in if you wanted to who were evil. But, okay, so here in Baldur's Gate 3, there is no alignment. When you look at the details of any particular person, it doesn't mention it. And that was actually an interesting choice on Larian's part, and it was quite good. But you can tell from the way people are acting what they're like, right? So just on first impressions, you look at all the NPCs that you get early on in the game. You've got, what's her name, the Githyanki, whose name is still eluding me. She's pretty abrupt. She's pretty abrasive, right? And she is willing to just forget everybody else and do whatever she wants. She's very selfish, very self-centered, and it seems like she would kill everybody at the drop of a hat. So she's neutral, borderline evil when you look at it from good to evil sort of thing, right? You've got Shadowheart. Well, she's a priestess of Shah. I mean, you know that when you look at a character sheet, it tells you that. And even if you put your tinfoil hat on and say, well, I'm not going to metagame this, I'm going to pretend that I don't know that. If you don't know, Shah is like the evil opposite of Saloon. So, and they actually have this ongoing thing. And there's a place in the storyline fairly early on where if you've got her in your party and you do something, she starts to explain all that to you. Right? So, you know, she worships an evil god. So she is neutral to evil as well in the good-evil spectrum. Astarion. A little vampire boy rogue. Well, he's ready to slit your throat the first time he sees you. Later on, he wants to suck your blood. He is, again, he's low on that. He's very neutral to evil in my book, right? Then you've got Gale the Wizard. Well, he seems fairly good. I mean, he's very friendly, wants to help out. He just wants to get rid of the parasite, and he's also, you know, he's very focused on wanting to be the best wizard that he can. And then you've got Will, the Blade of the Frontier. Now, as much as I liked Warlocks in Neverwinter Nights 2, there's always that conflict with me, because when you play a Warlock, you're basically sort of saying that you're under the influence of some other power, which is not a good thing. And it doesn't make you evil per se. And the power that you're under control of isn't evil per se, but a lot of them are. Like, in this, the options are, I can't remember, but I think they're like Fae and Ancient Ones or a Fiend. And, you know, the Fae are fickle at best, evil at worst. Ancient Ones don't know, but because of the way they work, you can almost always say very close to neutral to evil. And Fiends, well, that's just out and out evil, right? So, and Will is a good character, and that's always the problem. You know, Warlocks are always, not always, but if you want to play a Warlock and you don't want to go down the evil route, then you have to play that tortured, I'm under the influence of a Warlock, of a Fiend, and I want to get rid of the Fiend. Well, then you're no longer a Warlock, right? It's only if you can make the excuse that, well, I'm this ancient power that's giving, this ancient being that's giving me this power is actually one of the gods in disguise. It's one of the good gods, and they're doing, you know, you can go that route with the whole Warlock thing, but it's a very subtle route you have to tip-top, and it's not the way the Will character in this is built, as far as I'm aware, right? So, and strangely, if you go down the whole, let me just quickly do this. So,
A newborn. You know no creature like this.
Let's destroy the
One that
brain.
is more brain
Now,
than person.
because Larian Studios don't have alignments listed in this game, doesn't mean that they haven't been worked out. If you go to the Forgotten Realms wiki online, you can actually find information about all of these NPCs, and they actually list the alignments that are agreed upon as to what they are. Astarion is, I think, neutral evil or lawful evil. No, sorry, Astarion is chaotic neutral, maybe. Lawful evil is the Githyanki chick. Will is neutral good, I think. Gale the Wizard is neutral. Shadowheart is lawful neutral, or she might be chaotic neutral. But they're not all as evil as I'm making them out to be, but I'm sick and tired of having all of these morally ambiguous companions in these games. I want to go back to the good old days of Baldur's Gate 1, where most of your companions were good, and most of your potential companions were good. The ones that were evil were obviously 100% evil, and maybe you occasionally had one there that you thought was good and turned out to be bad, or vice versa. But I despair from the fact that we have to have these games where everything is morally ambiguous. I just want to have fun and be good, and no one wants to let me do that in these games. Okay, let's go and smite some stuff, shall we?
Then we find the helm and we will address the matter.
Lizelle, is that it? Is it Lizelle? Yes, Lizelle. That's right. Alrighty then. The only problem I've got with this build of Paladin that I've done is because my dexterity is 10, it generally means that I'm lower in the initiative order, because initiative is based on dexterity bonus. If we actually have a look at Lizelle, her dexterity being 13, she always ends up earlier in the combat than me. Let's turn on... You can't see that very well. I was going to get a mod which expanded this and made it bigger. But I'm going to try and point out if I can. I'm going to keep an eye on the amount of damage that we do with our weapons, and I'm going to show you the reroll of the values when we roll a 1 or a 2 with our two-handed weapons.
Right. Let's go.
No, none there. Let's move closer to this guy.
On the move.
Now, I'll strike you down.
Ooh, critical hit.
You prove surprising.
Very nice. So see how... I don't know if I can move that. No, not really. So we've done 2d10 bludgeoning. That's the normal critical hit, because it's normally 1d10. So we've done 2d10 for bludgeoning plus my 3 bonus for strength, and then savage attacks. We've done an additional 1d10, and we rolled a 10 on that, which was very, very nice. 20 damage to a imp which had like 4 hit points is... We've just mashed that into the ground, basically. So that was very nice. And you'll notice that we did it says attack roll was 20 there. So yes, we rolled a 20 to hit for crit. Now, if you have seen any of my other builds on games like Pathfinder and Neverwinter Nights 1 and 2, you'll know that the critical system there is actually pretty complicated. What happens is if you roll that 20, or if you've got the weapons and skills that you can roll less than that, if if you roll that thing that says, okay, it's a crit, you had to then re-roll to confirm that you actually hit. It was very bizarre. That's gone. That's no longer there. If you roll a 20 or a 19, if you've got that ability to crit on a 19, it's a hit. You don't have to re-roll to confirm it. That's a hit. That's done. You're good to go. So here's the light crossbows. We're going to... I would consider picking up a light crossbow for myself in some situations, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give one to Lizelle because it does more damage than her bow. I'm going to keep the other one for Astarion or whatever thief we decide to keep in our party, and I'll go through that a little bit later because that was the other thing I was going to mention and haven't yet, and that is if we find ourselves in a situation where we have to make a decision about some of these party members, about whether they stay in the party, not just here in the party, but actually you can tell them to leave completely. And if they are acting evil enough, I am literally going to tell some of them to leave. Or I may have to attack them. I'm not going to attack them for no reason, but, you know, I'm not going to let, you know, Astarion, for example, start biting everybody in the party, myself included. There are certain things which will not fly with me in this playthrough. This is being, if not lawful good, definitely as neutral good as I can.
My path be true.
Oh, we want to set up opportunity attacks in the reactions, just in case.
Stay on my feet.
Yeah, I can't get to you in one go. Oh, I didn't swap weapons. That's alright. We'll do that in a sec. Alright, let's do that while I think of it, actually. There we go. It doesn't really matter. They technically do the same amount of damage. I just like two-handed swords over two-handed hammers. Alright? Okay, we're going to ignore Shadowheart here for a moment, just to speed things along, because I can't get her out yet anyway, so no sense talking to her until I can. I find this really funny in this game, that we're about to see the intellect devourers running around. Now, these things, if you played Neverwinter Nights 1, there was an intellect devourer as like one of the bosses in the very first chapter that you had to kill, and it wasn't an easy fight. That thing just died from 6 points of slashing damage. They've gone in 20 years, they've gone from a incredibly hard boss battle to essentially the level of a kobold or goblin.
How many hosts of these gay infected?
It's very strange.
Anything of use? A rune? For what?
I'm not going to bother doing this whole Mind Flayer pod thing. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't advance the plot very much.
The console appears daunting. The console hums to life.
I'm probably not going to be able to make this arcane check, but we'll see. Oh, yes, I did. Very good.
Perhaps it
Doesn't matter whether you make it or not.
Suddenly, then discomfort fades.
Okay.
And another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority. You feel the biomechanical brain of the shiver runs across.
So the other problem with this build is not having any wisdom. Any of these Ithalid abilities that you can use throughout the early part of the game, whatever, they all require wisdom to be able to get a bonus on them. And I don't have any with this build, so...
Company. Fair point. Let me come with you. Shut up. It's nothing. Enough of this chatter. We need to get to the... She's right.
So if we have a look, there is a character sheet here. Actually, I don't think it does tell you what god she worships. That is really strange. Oh yes, it does. There you go, Shah. So I mean, that's the other thing that's interesting. If you try and play a cleric, you cannot choose Shah as a deity. You also cannot choose Bane, Baal, or Merkel, or Cyric, or most, not all. There are a small handful of evil gods that you can choose. Lolth is one. If you choose Drow, well, you don't have to choose Drow to worship Lolth, but you can choose Lolth. There's Tiamat, the dragon goddess. You can choose that. But interestingly, you cannot choose to play Shah. You can choose Selûne, the opposite of Shah. And I mean, it's probably no surprise because you see it in the opening menu. And it was part of what you were in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. In Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, you were a Baal spawn. You were like a child of the god Baal. So there was a thing called the Time of Troubles where all of the gods were thrown out of heaven and had to take avatars on Earth. Baal produced a bunch of children at that time as a way of splitting up his power and safeguarding it in case anything happened to his physical body, which did end up happening. He ended up being killed. And there's a lot to it. I read a whole bunch of novels in the 90s all about it, and it was interesting then. But yeah, he died, but then was brought back many years later. But it wasn't long after he died that the story in Baldur's Gate happened. I don't think he was back by then. No, I don't think he was. And this game, I'm pretty sure you are a Baal spawn as well. If you're not, you will be encountering them. Put it that way.
Inside, do as I say. Who put you in Kenyan?
Alright, let's do this. The first really big fight. Let's actually do some saves. I haven't actually done a full save yet. That would probably, be a good idea. Alright. Are we all weaponed up the way I want to be? I think so. I'm happy with my weapon choices. I don't want to give you anything else.
Let's get on with it.
And you're okay. You're going to be using your spells for stuff anyway. Let's go.
Interesting times.
Do it.
Interesting that the Ithalid, the Mind Flayer, is in green as if they're an ally of some sort.
This thing's falling fast. Got to right it. Strike hard, strike fast.
Very good. While you're there, have a look at all the bodies that are around you that you can get to, and grab everything that you can. Thank you very much. Oh, good. Another light crossbow. Wonderful.
I am fury. I am death.
Oh, you don't have the charge anymore because you have the hammer now. So let's move you down there. Oh, I forgot that the... I forgot that was there. I was moving her down here to attack the... to shoot at the imp. But anyway. That's fine. Okay. Oh, I should have used dash. Silly me. Actually, I think I still can. There we go. Beautiful.
I will ascend.
You might as well dash as well. I hate how I have to click up here, because I always end up moving here and going, oh, okay, I can move to here. That's not far enough. I want to dash. So I click on dash, and then I have to scroll back, click on the person.
My path be true.
There's a few UI things that I really don't like about this. In that case, I knew I was going to be dashing no matter what. Half-Orc looks so stupid when he's running. So annoying. Let's get you as far as we can up this way. Are you able to... No. Alright. Don't suppose... No, can't move you close enough to do that. Oh, that's fine. Good, that was a miss. Okay, you get to there. Very good. I can probably dash completely around these guys.
Very well.
And not have to worry at all. There we go, and we're done. We would have got a little bit more XP if we had killed them all, but...
You made it in time.
There was plenty of time too. We had like 12 rounds or whatever still to go, so it's not like we weren't going to have a... You know, there was going to be any problem.
As you wake, the tadpoles squirm. Other than but it'll all the tadpole.
Okie dokie. Save on the beach. Let's go. Wake her up.
You're alive. I remember first things. We might have escaped. We need each other. And we both... One thing. It would have been all too... Lead the way.
I mean, some of the time she seems like she's being nice, but a lot of the times, no. A hand drum. I like some of the random stuff that's around. I'm going to be making a beeline fairly quickly. When I play as a rogue, I always put on... If I find something like this, I always put those hats on. I mean, I'll put it on to show you. But I'm not going to keep... Actually, you know what? I am going to keep that on for the moment. Until I find something better.
What's in here?
There's a sort of rakish elegance to that hat. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to make my way to the druid camp as soon as possible, because if I can't find one just randomly amongst all of the loot that's around, I want to be able to buy a great sword as quickly as possible. And I think the tiefling... I think he's originally a tinsmith, but the smith... The tiefling smith there does have a great sword I can buy, I think. The halfling druid merchant doesn't. I don't believe. Now, I'm sure everybody knows this, but if you don't, anything you don't want to carry, just as soon as you can, just click on it. Like this. I'm going to keep short swords for Astarion. Keep that for Astarion. I don't need that. I'll give that to Astarion. I don't need a shield. That's my oath. I'm going to keep that on me. I could throw these javelins. I'm trying to keep them. I should remember to try and throw them at some point. But all of those, I've selected all those, and I just held down Control and clicked on the ones that I wanted to select. Just send to camp. So easy, so you don't have to carry them. And then when you're somewhere you want to sell, you just go to camp, grab all the stuff out of the chest, and leave the camp, sell your stuff, and you're done. It's so easy. I just wish that it would automatically sort stuff for you rather than having to go through all of that all the time. But anyway, I don't really want that either, so let's send that to camp. I don't know why I'm keeping an eye out for alchemy ingredients, but I am. I mean, I do know why. I can make potions out of it, and unlike other games, you don't need to have any proficiency to do it in this one, which is kind of weird. But yeah. There. Oh, by the way, if you don't rescue Shadowheart from the ship and you just leave her to her fate, she will appear here, surrounded by a bunch more dead intellect devourers, banging on that door. But because I'm playing a paladin, we are going to try and help everybody. If they are deserving of help, that is.
I'll give it a shot.
Unlock this sigil. Go, and there's some belladonna there. Go. Let's just have a look here. We can make a Murgrass suspension. And that's it at the moment. Eventually we want to find Rogue's Morsels so that we can start making healing potions. In a test playthrough I was doing a few days ago, a rogue one, actually ended up being able to make a greater healing potion, which was nice. I don't remember where the extra ingredients I found came from, but they came from somewhere, I just don't remember where. All right. I both love and hate this stuff in the game.
Now this will hurt.
Because, yeah, that just gives me fire as a bonus ability on my weapon, but if you're not careful, you end up walking through this stuff and getting injured for no real reason.
Best keep some distance, or this will be a short fight.
What do the yellow diamonds mean in Why Bash New? The only place I can think of that I remember seeing yellow diamonds, or diamonds anywhere, is when you're in the installation panel, I think it is. So not in the mods that are currently installed, but when you're going to install them, you get the list of files that you can install. If they're squares, they are the zips, and if they are the diamonds, I think they're the package folders, or the other way around, one of the two. And usually I think the yellow means you have installed them. I can't remember exactly, but it's something like that. Sorry, I don't recall off the top of my head. So I'm trying to picture. I haven't looked at Wybash in weeks, so I'm trying off the top of my head remember. Oh, I have. No, that's lacerate. If I had a two-handed sword, I would have cleave, I think, where I'd be able to attack both of these guys. That's alright. Oh, critical miss. Damn it. Well, I've got a pommel strike. I only get it once per short rest, but I'll use it anyway. And we got a level up. Very nice. No. Although... that got that away from Shadowheart so that she could do that without possibly getting attacked in return. Alright, we have levels. You could use some healing though, so let's... do that. I mean, she can heal herself anyway. This is where it gets fun. Level 2 Paladin, we get Divine Smite. So we get 3 Divine Smites per day, each doing 2d8 radiant damage, or adding. And it does an extra 1d8 radiant damage to fiends and undead. It does use up one of my spell slots, though. So we get 3 spell slots per day. But we can also pick some particular spells. So we get the fighting style. We're going to get great weapon fighting style so that we can get this re-rolling of damage dice on 1 and 2. Beautiful feature. If you didn't see me talk about it at the start of the video, I might mention it again later, but that is going to be really good. Oh, damn it, I didn't prepare my spells properly. Okay. We don't want Shield of Faith. I never remember to use it, but Inflict Wounds does a lot of damage for a first level spell. Even though it's a necromancy spell, and I'm, you know me, like, dead set against necromancy. It should be outlawed everywhere. Every game, it should not be allowed. Personally, I think that there should be wizard spells that can heal, that are not necromancy. I mean, transmutation or conjuration would be ways to heal without resorting to necromancy. So anyway, I'm going to leave that on for Shadowheart. We're going to take Create or Destroy Water, and the reason for this is too many times someone will hit us with a fireball or something. There's fire all around. Someone with this spell. I mean, I'm also keeping any water jugs that I find to drop on the ground when that happens. But someone with this spell can get rid of that fairly easily. It does leave steam around, but the steam isn't as bad. Let me...
Stayed interesting.
I'm actually reasonably... No. Compelled Duel... I don't really want Wrathful Smite. I want those two. Five to 19 fire damage. Searing Smite. 6 to 25 thunder damage. Thunderous Smite. Compelled Duel is actually useful. If it works, you can get someone to come and attack you and leave your companions alone. And then Cure Wounds, well, you know, maybe that'll help. But the fact of the matter is, if you're needing to use something like a Cure Wounds or a Lay on Hands in the middle of combat, you're already in a bad state. You've already got problems, and you're probably not going to make it.
What's inside?
But having said that, on this difficulty level, it shouldn't be a major problem. But this is a Larian Studios game, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Right, let's get that Dead Mind Flayer and that chest over there. Drow Poison, sleepy stuff. I'm not going to use it, but I'll give it to Astarion and let him maybe use it. I wish they had some of the smarts that was in Neverwinter Nights 2. In Neverwinter Nights 2, there was a whole section in behind the character sheet where you could set up all of these options about how your characters would react in various situations, and one of them was to whether they would use items that they had on them. And so you could say, yep, use items, and if I had given that potion to Astarion in that game, he would just go, yep, it's a good time for me to put that on my weapon, and he would just automatically use it. Now, you can say, well, he's going to use it at the worst time possible. Yeah, he probably is, but the fact of the matter is, I'm likely just to completely forget that I have it and never use it. That's me. That, like, if you've seen me play any game, that is me. So I might as well give it to someone and let them actually use it, as opposed to it never being used. Another interface change I would love here. Sure, if I am clicking on something in my inventory of which there are multiples, I don't mind there being a split interface, but I'm picking up gold off the ground, and this is only going to pick up half of it. What the hell? Like, I've got to click and drag over to here to make sure I get it all. That's just stupid. And it doesn't matter whether I right-click on it and go pick up or what. It will do that interface. It's so annoying. I cannot believe that made it into the final version of the game. Or the release version. I'm not saying this is the final version. There will still be updates and everything, but...
Hurry. I've got one of those brain things cornered.
Oh, another thing that I
You
don't
can
like
Crypt,
about this
can't you?
game
Like you killed the others?
is the, and I can probably show you this later when I go to camp. I could go to, there's a mirror that you can go to in the camp and you can change your appearance. The fact of there's only a complete total of 8 character voices you can choose for yourself. And I understand the whole, fluid gender movement and everything, but 4 of those choices are female and 4 of those choices are male. When I'm identifying as a male, I want male voices, but there's only 4 for me to choose from. And you know what? To me, to my 50-year-old ear, they all sound pretty much the same. Like, there is no, I want a gruff, deep, heavy voice, particularly if I'm playing a dwarf or something like, or a half-orc. And there's no, like, really sort of soft, light sort of voice that you might expect from a halfling. They all just sound like generic, stupid human voice 1, 2, 3, and 4 in male and female varieties. There's no voices that you could stand out and go, that's definitely an elf, that's definitely a human, that one's definitely a gnome, that's a halfling, that's a dwarf, that's an orc, that's a tiefling, or whatever. They don't stand out in any way. The voices of all the different NPCs that you meet in the game do stand out, but the voices you can choose for yourself, they don't stand out at all. Any other game that I've ever played has a nice selection of voices that you can choose from that have all different characteristics. So if you want the really gruff voice or the really upbeat sort of happy-go-lucky or the village idiot or you name it. And it's really disappointing to see how like four voices male, 4 voices female, and they all sound pretty much the same. There's no real variation in them. It's terrible. Anyway, back to the game.
Just a
Let's get this.
bore. You're relieved.
Let's get this over with.
You'll mind if you try to.
Yeah.
My name's a star. Is that so?
Yes.
Turn it. Although, well, yes, of course. You know, and you. All right.
Okay, so you can have that and that. Why have I only found 1 short sword so far? Normally I feel like I've got a dozen by now. That's fine. I might give him the leather. No, actually, I'm the one who should be using the leather helmet because I have terrible. Does it actually give any information about my dexterity saving throws? Yeah. I got +4 from proficiency, but it just looks so stupid on anybody, really. It looks really bad if you play Dragonborn, trying to put a helmet on them. I thought they might have done something like they've done in other games, where there's certain races that you just cannot wear helmets with. Any of the horned races. So, for example, there are other games where tieflings and dragonborns, or the equivalent, could not wear helmets. I really am surprised they didn't do that for this, because it just doesn't make sense. But, I mean, this thing looks so dinky. Can't wait till there's a decent helm for me to wear. I'd much rather wear that for the moment, even though it gives me no bonuses. So I'm going to give that to Astarion as well. Let's give him the Drow Poison. Actually, let's give him the Potion of Speed as well. I'll give him the Void Bulbs. I normally have a whole bunch of... grease potions too. We'll give him the Acid Arrow, and he'll want those. That's water. I feel like I normally have more water than this as well at this point. I wish I could fill those bottles up. I haven't actually tried that. I really should. Let's give all of those to Astarion. And we're going to put those in the camp. Okay. Sorry, I meant to go to Astarion and give him the helmet, which does look silly on him. Give him the crossbow. Let's send that to camp, and for now he can have short sword and dagger, but I'll give him dual short swords in a little bit. Oh, there's another one. There we go. Oh, that's right, I picked up those. Does he look better with leather armor on? Or his silly padded armor? There's no difference. It gives the same amount of protection. We'll leave it like that. Do I need I don't think I need crossbows for anybody else. Send to camp. Send to camp. What's that? Scroll to detect thoughts. Don't really need that. Ah, you've got 2 grease bottles. That's where the grease bottles went. Good. Alright. That sounds good. You've got to level up. Let's get that. Haven't done the owlbear yet. Not quite that far through it. And as a paladin, got to be careful what I do in the owlbear lair, because I can become an oathbreaker if I do certain things. All right. And quite frankly, well, actually, there is good stuff. I was going to say there's not a lot of stuff in the owlbear lair that what really warrants going in there, but there sort of is, I suppose. So we'll go in there later.
There. A mind flayer.
Oh, wrong entrance. I meant to go back around the other entrance. That's fine.
Best be careful.
Yeah. So I know you can speak to this guy, but
May the gods take you first.
we're not going to do that. We're just going to take this guy out. Ooh, that was a critical hit. Very nice. Look at that. 20 points of damage. Love it. Absolutely love it. Alright. There's another... No. Like this one. There is another... Mind Flayer over there. I don't think he's got much on him, but we're going to go anyway. Whoops. See, someone just ran through the fire, did they? Yeah, me. That's the only problem with using the arrow keys to move, which is a mod that I've got running, is it's easier to run through fire. When you point and click, you don't tend to go through it very
Worth
much.
checking for supplies, maybe.
Yeah, I am going to get more team members. Well, there's only one more. I can only fit 4 in my team to begin with. I believe in Chapter 2 you can get an extra person. And I know there's mods out there that allow you to get more people as well. I am going to go for more people. The layout that I'm actually considering at the moment is my Paladin, Lizelle, or a hired fighter. Because you can, once you get to level 3, you can talk to the skeleton guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, in your camp, and you can hire hirelings, 1 from each class. I'm tempted to hire a fighter and a thief and replace Lizelle and Astarion, just so I don't have to have them walking around with me all the time, because they are obviously evil and I don't really want them in my party. And I may end up actually completely kicking them out of the grouping altogether at some point, depending on what they do, because I sort of may have to be able to remain a
What's going on with that?
devotion paladin.
Looks unstable somehow.
approach the sigil on the stone.
A hand? Anyone?
Go.
That's it! Go on! Keep pulling!
Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. Then I can only assume you too were on. No, you should be insert into pro. You don't have
You seem to.
most, no doubt. But we're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon too. Oh, it was an act of foresight.
All right. Let's level him up. So he's an evoker, which is a good choice. I mean, let's be honest, a good portion of the damage dealing spells are evocations, although conjurations and there are a few enchantments that do damage as well. Well, necromancy, there's stuff as well. Thankfully, you don't get the whole thing of not being able to learn spells from the opposite class, which is good. But we want, like, first level mage who doesn't have magic missile. Like, this is just insane, but we're going to take it. And chromatic orb, it doesn't do huge amounts of damage, 3d8. It's still very good for a first level spell, don't get me wrong. But the fact that there's like 6 different varieties of it is pretty good too. And some of them, like the fire and acid ones, leave a splash of fire and acid on the ground around them, is really, really useful. And then we're going to make sure we prepare these spells. I don't like Thunderwave. It's such a short range. It's so close to you. I don't like it. I prefer to do stuff at distance. Sleep is good, don't get me wrong. Witch Bolt sounds good, but you can keep it going for as long as you can keep it going. But I find early game, late game it might be even better. But I find early game, most of your opponents aren't going to be around long enough for you to be able to continue pumping damage through this. And so it's kind of wasted. And I never get a situation where I get a good lineup of opponents that I can zap through multiples of them with it. So I'm not going to bother with that. We're going to take Magic Missile, and we're going to take Chromatic Orb. I'm tempted to get rid of Grease, but for now, Grease is useful. Because the thing that you never used to be able to do in other games, but you can do with Grease in this game, is you can put down Grease, and then you can hit it with your Firebolt cantrip and ignite it up, which is useful. And I might just switch the order around and put... It doesn't really matter, but I want to put Gale above Astarion, just so that Astarion can be in the rear. I don't know. It doesn't really work that way, but I like to have the mage in the middle of the party more than at the back. Just in case. Let's go and rescue Lizelle. Not because I want her in my party. I'm going to send her back to camp. But I'm like, there's a whole heap of stuff you can do over here. A whole big section. But I want to get to the Druid camp now so that I can buy myself a two-handed sword. What's my subclass going to be? My subclass for the Paladin is Oath of Devotion, which you choose at level 1. But after we get to, I don't know, maybe level 5? 4 or 5, somewhere around there, we're going to dip in and get 3 levels of Fighter as well. So the idea here with this build is Half-Orcs get this nice ability called Savage Attack, so that when you land a critical, you do an extra dice of weapon damage, right? And so that is pretty good. Rather than doing 2 times damage, you do 3 times damage. When you do that with a two-handed sword, the two-handed sword does 2d6 of damage. So that would become, rather than that being 4d6, it would now be 6d6 of damage. So 6 to 36 points of damage. But with the great weapon fighting added into that, whenever we roll a 1 or a 2 on our damage dice, we get to re-roll, which doesn't always... You have to take whatever that re-roll is, but it means that most of the time, rather than doing 6 to 36 damage from 6d6, you're actually going to do... What did I work it out as? You're going to do 3 to 6 damage on each of those dice. So that means you're going to do 18 to 36 damage on a critical hit, rather than a normal person who might only do 2 times damage, and so they would only be doing 4 to 24 points of damage, right? And then if I take... So that's just this Paladin build with great weapon fighting. Savage attacks is part of being an orc, so it doesn't matter which class you pick, you get that. Great weapon fighting. Being that I'm a Paladin, I get Divine Smite. Yeah, I've got this all planned. Being a Paladin, I have Divine Smite as part of my stuff, and that gives me... Where's the details on that? The Divine Smites give me an extra... It means I do 6 to 29 points of damage on an attack. So multiply that by 3, but also that won't be 6 to 29. That will be even higher. Like, you're basically doing an extra 2d8 radiant damage on top of your weapon damage, and that'll be tripled as well for a critical hit. So a Paladin with critical... A Half-Orc Paladin does insane amounts of damage when they crit. And then the reason I want to go down the 3 levels of Fighter is if you pick Fighter and choose the Champion subclass, the first ability you get at level 3 as a Champion increases the probability of critting. So rather than critting only on a roll of a 20, you now crit on a 19 or a 20, which means you've gone from a 5% chance of a crit to a 10% chance of a crit. And you can then combine that with... I think there is one other feat that you can take, but there's also a few different items you can pick up in the world that also bring that crit chance even more. I think the best that you can hope to get is maybe 20% chance of a crit for every attack. So yeah, that's the build that I'm going for at the moment. Another build that is really high damage would be a rogue with their sneak attacks. And you could think about trying to do the same sort of thing using orcs, half-orcs with the sneak attacks and everything like that as well, but it actually works better, I think, with rogues to go halfling, but that's another playthrough for another time.
Yellow as a toad.
The things... Your skull, how get rid of them.
Okay, I'm going to use my deception here and hope this works. If not, I am going to re-roll because I don't want to attack these guys. Ah, good, we were successful. I don't want to attack these guys because
He's right.
they're just...
Let's go. We need to check out that blast.
I'm not a big fan of the barbarians. Barbarians are a bit glass cannon-y for me. I mean, so are rogues, to be honest. Rogues are very much of a glass cannon, but the whole barbarian thing, raging sounds great, but you then get all the fatigue that hits afterwards. And so, if you... Yeah, I don't know. I've just never had a thing for barbarians. I don't know why. But but she is a good character. Like, I would consider having her. She's not someone that I'm going to definitely, like, completely kick out of the group, because she is actually one of the few
And be careful.
good
There are goblin traps
characters in the story. I was earlier on in the thing, I was talking about, earlier on in the stream, I was talking about, I wish there was just one NPC in this game that wasn't some sort of morally ambiguous, or, you know, I just want a normal NPC who is like, I am a neutral good whatever, and I just want to help. And you come along and you meet them and they say, yep, sure, I want to help you. But you don't. Every single character has something weird about them. You know, even, you know, Karlach, she is chaotic good or lawful good or something like that. I mean, it doesn't tell you in the game, but as I said, if you go to the Forgotten Realms wiki, you can look up the information, and she's one of the few good characters in the game, right? She's come out of a very hard situation where she was enslaved by a devil and made to fight. They put this infernal machine in her chest. She needs to get rid of it now. I mean, that's fine, but did they have to put the infernal machine in her chest? Could they just not have dropped her in as a neutral good barbarian, and she's just like, you know what? That's all past. That's behind me. I've escaped from them. I no longer have to worry about the devils anymore. I got out of hell, and I'm now back on the material plane, and I just want to help. You know, but no, they have to then put the machine in her chest. You know, I'm trying not to spoil things here, but I do know that most of the characters have some sort of ticking time bomb, right? You've got Astarion, who's a vampire who needs to feed. You've got Lizelle here, who, well, I mean, she doesn't really have a ticking time bomb that I know of, but, you know, all she wants to do is get back to her creche and get the thing out of her head. You've got Shadowheart, who has her mysterious agenda and her artifact of Shah that she's carrying around with her. Gale has another ticking time bomb in his chest. He's got some magical device in there that he needs to keep feeding magical energy to, otherwise it's going to explode and level a city. And Will has, you know, he's a warlock, so of course he's got some, you know, devil or some other thing that's playing Puppet Master. You know, it's just like, why can't we? Can we just have some normal person, you know, as a team member? Why do I have to have all of them? Yeah, he's got his patron. Will's got his patron. Like, but can't I just please? I just want one normal NPC to show up. And I know there's more later on in the game, and they are, you know, semi-normal. You got Minsk from the original games, and you've got Jahir from the original games. But they're not normal either, because they've been around for 200 years, right? So what's going on there? And I know there's, basically, if you look at it, I haven't looked too much into it, but I know enough that I've looked at, there's a huge list of NPCs. It actually covers every single class. So it doesn't matter what class you choose, you will eventually meet an NPC that is the same class as you. Maybe except for Sorcerer. I'm not sure if there's actually another Sorcerer in the game. But I'm pretty sure there's one of every other one. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, I want normal NPCs. I'm sick and tired of every NPC in this game having some life and death condition and wanting to hump my brains out at the same time. It's like, no. I'm here to get this thing out of my head and to solve a problem around Baldur's Gate. I don't care about your raging hormones, and sure, I don't mind helping, but I want to help Baldur's Gate. I don't want to have a, you know, a group of prepubescent bloody NPCs running around, hanging onto my apron strings, needing me to wipe their bum every 3 seconds because they've got some device in their chest that's about to explode. Yeah, I like the good old days of games where every person in your party was just good. I'm sick of these games, so many games where there's just endless, morally ambiguous questioning about whether you should be doing something or not. Anyway, enough of me rambling about the good old days. Let's get Lizelle
The
free.
tadpole hasn't, but the my careful. She obviously sees your kindness as weakness. Don't let her take advantage.
You're full up. Dismiss someone first.
Yeah, you can take Shadowheart's
Ready
place.
for battle.
You have made an outcome. A crash.
But I'm not going to keep you forever, I don't think. As I said, once I get to level 3, I might hire the fighter to replace her. How are we doing? I've got a little bit of hurt.
Off we go then.
No. So, let's go... Let's go to the druid camp so I can get myself a decent weapon. Even if it is going to cost me probably a small fortune to do it.
Broken. Must have been here a while. Need to find a... I hear shouting up ahead.
Music to Githyanki ears.
Yeah, but trauma... Does it have to be the base of every character in these games? Like... Yeah, I want a two-handed sword. That's what I want. It's going to go and do all the damage that I want. And it's better than this... Because this is a long sword. It's not a proper two-handed sword. It doesn't do all the damage that I need it to. It only does... It just does 1d10 plus 3 damage. It doesn't do the 2d6 that I want. So even though technically that says 4 to 13, it is really doing 6 to 13 because of the greatsword specialization thing that I've got. But I want the... You'll see the difference when I get the greatsword. Okay, let's sit through this.
Damnable and suffer.
Alright. Yes, Astarion first. Okay, how about... You would have to miss, wouldn't you? Are you going to be able to hide there? You
I'll
are.
do it my way.
Wonderful. I haven't played tabletop D&D in probably 30 years.
Get to the high ground! Raiders! Shine the bastard!
But yes, I have.
For the absolute!
Lizelle, I think it's probably best if you dash in, please. How close can I get you?
Taking position.
Could give you action surge and you could shoot something. Yeah, let's do that. And... yeah, let's shoot the boss. Damn it. Yeah, that's how everyone's playing these days. Alright. Actually, let's get you in a better position, I think.
Don't get too close.
Yeah, no, we're not going to, don't worry. Yeah, that walker's almost dead. That's good. Ooh.
May the gods take you first.
Ouch. I should have realized that. Fine. Oh, damn it, I didn't have the sneak attacks turned on.
They won't know what bit them.
Oh, that didn't work.
I'll bleed every last one of you!
Alright, Lizelle. Let's get over here and threaten this guy so that he has less options. I don't think I can actually make much.
At the ready.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to be able to hit. Difficult terrain, too far away. I think we'll skip that. This guy's almost dead. He's now dead. Wonderful.
Inside! All of you! Open the gate! Where is the bastard?
Alright, let's just loot all of these quickly.
On my way.
The hell can you use those for? Can you throw them, maybe? We'll see what happens with them. I don't really want the bones, but take everything, I guess. Sort it out later. Now there's a weapon that everyone should be aware of. Morning Stars. Tenacity. When you miss an attack, you deal 3 bludgeoning damage anyway. So, if you're playing a one-handed build, so sword and shield, for example, you might be using the, if you're playing a fighter, you might be using the dueling skill. Grab yourself a Morning Star, because the dueling skill gives you an extra 2 points of damage with any one-handed weapon. So you can't use this weapon two-handed, you can only use it one-handed. So if you use this on a shield, even when you miss, you will do 5 points of damage. That's insane. It's another broken weapon in the game, is the Morning Star. That's the other build that I would do with a Paladin, is rather than picking Greatsword as your weapon style, pick dueling and go weapon and shield. And when you get a... I mean, you might end up finding a magic sword that's better eventually, but as soon as you get this Morning Star, use it. You actually get the Morning Star from the bugbear there, not this guy. But as soon as you get it, use it, and you will find that it is quite good. Because being able to do damage even when you miss, it means you never miss, really. You just, no matter what you're doing, you end up doing damage. Now, this conversation with these guys up here, there's two outcomes that I like, and that is one of them punches the other one. Because if either of them knocks the other one out with a punch,
And you let them take the druid too? Unbelievable!
then this guy will leave. This guy will leave. When he leaves, his friends go with him, and that actually resolves some problems in the camp with people stealing things and stuff like that that are a little bit annoying. So,
And who the hell are you again?
yeah, Aridin
Show some
leaves,
respect.
and that's good.
This man saved your pathetic life.
Well, I didn't ask for any god.
Please, you were begging.
The human's eye twitches. He's about to blow.
So if I stand back and watch and don't do anything, one of them's going to punch the other. I think in this situation, because I've done the insight and I've seen that this guy is about to blow, he is the one that punches. But if you don't get that and you stand back and watch, generally the tiefling hits him, I think. I'm not sure. It might be completely random.
With a thump,
No.
the armored man collapses.
It does seem to be random as to which one punches the other.
The goblins have found us. No doubt the beasts will be back. We need to pack up and leave. Immediately.
Waste our time with idle bicker.
For once.
Let's try to avoid.
Now that's settled. Thank you for your help out there. Well met. Whatever this attack will only strengthen their resolve. We can't stay, but we'll be slaughtered if we leave. Perhaps you could persuade her.
Really?
Okay.
We'd owe you You'll find the druids at the heart of the grove. Please, make them cease.
Interesting that both Astarion and Lozelle disapproved of me doing that, of helping.
I'm done.
Good, so they're gone. The other thing I'm going to do straight away, you have to be really careful how you do this. There is a path over those log bridges there that goes down there. If you go down that way, right now, there is an elf. Oh, sorry, there's a tiefling up here, and she's just about to get ambushed by a bugbear. And if you go down there first, before you head up there, there's a path that you head up over this way, which I'm just about to go to. If you go there first, she gets killed. If you go there first, you surprise the bugbear, and you might be able to keep her alive.
Cannon?
It's gone, Archer.
No! Get up, Cannon!
Astarion, as usual, goes first, and thankfully, I think he has his bow out, and he should get a sneak attack on this because the bugbear's been surprised, but he missed. Let's go back to hiding, and let's actually just move you up a little bit closer so that you get a better, maybe get a better shot next time.
Swift and lethal.
Sure. Charge him.
No time to waste.
Can't slow down.
A tale for the ages. In striking distance. Torment!
And there we go. Beautifully done. I think he also has, yes, he also has a Morning Star, which has tenacity. Was there... I think there would be some alchemy ingredients up here, but there isn't.
I should speak up.
You have good timing. But you're not here. Let me guess. Your devil mistress sent you to get her soul coin back. Too bad. I earned it, fair and square.
Yeah, I follow a far more noble path. If you possess a devil's artifact, you should leave it in my
I'm going to be
charge.
chased all over Faerun for this damn coin, aren't I? Fine. Take it as a grudging payment for the rescue. Now leave me in peace.
A soul coin, true to its name, holds a mortal soul inside. It serves in the Nine Hells as very valuable currency.
Still alive.
I already have. I thought I already had one of those. Maybe not. Or did I send it back to the... I don't know whether to take these gloves of power or not. I usually use them if I'm playing a rogue. On a hit with a weapon attack, possibly inflict a 1d4 penalty to the target's attack and save throws. Can throw those. You can also consume them. I don't want to know what happens if I consume them. I sort of do, but I sort of don't. Yeah, I'll put those on. Actually, I'll get Gale to do this.
Already.
Peer through the telescope.
Oh, actually, he didn't have a bonus. I thought he did. No. Who's got the best perception in the group? I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to find out. Not that it's really all that important, but I want to find it out. Character sheet. No. Yes. There we go. Let's have a look. Perception is wisdom, isn't it? 0. Lozelle has +1. Ah, Astarion. Of course Astarion does.
Peer through the telescope.
This sits here forever on this. I don't know why. It's very annoying. But it does.
You see a dragon circling like a bird of prey, hunting.
Let's go to the
The
left,
telescope
please.
points to the left.
So that's our crash site.
The telescope points straight ahead.
Yeah, we know about that.
The telescope points to the right.
All right, so ultimately, our crash site is over here. We're here. So that was the left. The right was up here where the goblin camp is. So somewhere over in this general direction, out this way to the west, there is a dragon circling.
This way.
Is that
Why are we
blood?
letting the Starian lead?
Never mind.
Actually, let's... No, we're going to be selling stuff. Let's not do that. I don't talk to these guys very often. I don't really feel like doing it at the moment either, so let's just head back down.
I care about our lives, our futures.
No, you just care about your stupid apprenticeship.
Take that back, right now.
Let's talk to some people first.
Hells, we can't.
I'll not gamble our lives.
Can we all just take a moment, please?
What's the point in blades and spells if we don't bloody use them? We should stay. These people aren't fighters.
Or yell louder. That's fine too.
Ah, there we go. Where the weak have need, the strong have a duty. Stay.
Just like I was saying, I don't want all these lives on my.
Cirque. Fine. We'll stay.
Thank you, Roland.
There we go.
Moving in.
This place is a bloody death trap, not a sanctuary. You should clear off while you can.
Did I have anything else I could do here? Not yet.
Something good here, I hope.
Elbows high. Now pull back and swing.
Let's talk to Will.
Very well.
Go on. Give me a best shot. Not bad. Again.
I can't do it.
Umi, I don't need you to be like me. You just have to buy enough time to run. Come on. I believe in you. You can do this.
I'm surprised there's not a Paladin response here. I don't like the Half-Orc one. Enough sniveling. But I'm going to try it because I've never done it before.
Ignore him, Umi. Go on now. Well met.
The man, you are the blade.
It wasn't the best
Hell's
option.
great fires. But we...
Your mind's
Shit!
Advocatus Diaboli, a devil's advocate.
That ship sailed. Her name is... I tracked her through the... She's out there now. Preying on the innocent. Just so you know, but I'm up for the challenge. You've just got to a splendid plan.
Step, parry, strike. Damn it! It's just not. Ah. Sorry. I've never seen your face is. Well, I should get back to it. Nothing but goblins in the wild. We need to be ready for a fight, but I'm useless with a sword.
I'm going to use these detect thoughts whenever I can. This is part of the mind flayer thing, I think. Either that or it's part of the fact that I'm a Baal spawn. I think I'm a Baal spawn.
He was only a boy, and I just froze while the wall tore his head clean off. Never again. You're right. You really know what you're doing. Found this by the road. Bet you'll... Oh, yes. I'll bite my tongue when the time comes. Hopefully, but I'll keep at it. Thank...
Right. He gave us a battle axe, which is nice. In fact, I think I'll give that to... No, I was going to give that to Lizelle, but... Actually, no, I will. No, I won't. I'm going to keep her using a more... this Warhammer that she's got.
Assume nothing.
What is it? Yeah, the Warhammer. Because she's going to be bludgeoning then, and I will be slashing. If I give her... Like, because I took this sword off her. And if I give her this battle axe, it's another slashing weapon. And I want some variety in the damage. So, I think it's better to keep her with the other one for the moment.
I saw you at the gates. A few words for the kids? Spare a story or two. Thanks.
All right.
Enough waiting. I crave blood.
Watch your back.
Have a lot on my mind and, well, in it.
You're an idiot.
There is that strange ox. We're going to do something with that in a minute.
That's curious.
Well, yeah, I know about that. We'll explain that in a minute as well. Let's go to our camp. We're gonna briefly put Will in our party, the Blade of Frontiers, because he's going to have an ability I need in a second. So let's go and talk to him. And we'll kick out Astarion for a moment.
The Blade of Frontiers at your call.
Join me, please.
But there's no room for me. Ready and willing.
Alright, so we'll go back. We need to level him up, which I forgot to do. Doesn't matter. That's fine, I can do it now. So, he is... We want that. How far am I in? 2 hours. Not very far at all. Alright, so what we want is we want Will's ability.
The pride of the gate.
To speak with animals.
Sure, why not?
Be gone. I am hungry.
Another one. What are you under there then? Ant? Or rocks? The keepers of this place. They change their form to fit their need. They become birds to hunt on the wing. Bears to tear flesh with teeth. But for me, only oxen, only same old hay. And I cannot even eat it, because the horned ones hide their shiny bits inside.
Shiny bits. The tieflings put something in your hay.
Hiding things. Thinking they're clever. Not clever. Sometimes I eat the shiny bits, and they have to go looking for them on the other end.
So that's what, if you didn't already have that discovered, talking to the Bordox would uncover the fact that there is this pouch in the haystack. Strange ox.
You're addressing me, a humble ox. How quaint.
Something strange about this ox. What is it?
Something's off. This creature isn't what it appears to be.
Yeah, I'll say. No,
you are incapable.
I normally try the persuasion option here. There we go.
I'd so love to see them try. I'll tell you this much. I'm going to Baldur's Gate, with or without the rest of these poor sods. Now, that's all I have to say besides, and I really mean this, moo. Nothing here for you.
Yeah, so I like that. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Let's go back to the camp. Let's get Astarion back in our group.
So, we're traveling with the famed Blade of Frontiers. I would, but you have so many friends already. In that case, I'd be happy.
Okay, and we want to grab everything from the chest that we want to sell. Hang on, is there anything I need from you? No. And yes. Okay. I never use this Mask of the Shapeshifter, but having said that, I'm going to take everything out of there. I'm going to chuck that in there. Anything that I definitely want to keep for whatever reason, I'm going to chuck in this chest. And then this pack, which has a lot of food and potions and stuff in it. I should have used the potion of animal speaking. That was the other way that I could have spoken to that. Anything that is supplies, like the rope, which I'm not sure if you need at some point, but I might. So I'm putting the rope in there. And there's a couple of, well, the books and stuff that I want to keep, I think will go in the chest. But just things like the rope and, I don't know. There was some other things. There's shovels and picks and stuff like that. I wanted to keep one of those sorts of things, and torches, things like that I want to keep in here as backups if I've got multiples. Everything else in here that I am not really using, we are going to take, and now we're going to go and sell all of this.
Oh, the waiting's getting to me. If we left, we could at least make a run for it.
I have found this merchant to be bugged in that sometimes I will go to him, like now, and I will sell a whole bunch of stuff and buy a few things from him, and then I'll leave him and I'll come back and he's got no money. So I can't sell anything to him, even though he had money when I left him because I had bought stuff. So, I don't know, I'm wary about coming to this guy too often, but I'll sell stuff to him first, and then I'll go and see the guy who is basically a blacksmith.
Well met. Is there anything you need? Act fast if I pray no. Nettie could put you to rights. Just some bits and bobs I no longer need.
I don't know how much in the way of camp supplies I really need. The ringmail armor +1 is definitely piquing my interest, as are the gloves of missile snaring. That's only a hand axe, so that's not anything I really want. So he's only got 552, so I can't actually, it might not seem like it, but I can't actually sell a lot of stuff to him because he won't buy a lot. Let's start with a lot of this junk stuff. That's water, candle. Oops, I want to keep that. That is a cape. Doesn't do anything, but it looks good when I wear it. So let's try and sell all of that. There we go. Let's put that cape on. Much better. How much has he got? 307. I'm probably not going to be able to sell all of this. Is there anything out of this lot I want to keep? I don't think so. That dagger is nothing special. It's just called the Needle of the Outlaw Rogue, but it doesn't do anything. It's not enchanted in any way. It doesn't do anything special. It just looks interesting more than anything, I think. Yeah, it doesn't have enough gold for me to sell all of that. Let's sell that. That. All of these goblin-y things, let's sell them first. So yeah, there's lots of food stuff here that I could get. Turns out I haven't used any of those javelins, which means I probably won't ever use them. Okay, and you've really got nothing left. But I can sell you, not much anyway. No. Alright, I'll sell the rest to the other guy. I might come back and buy some of these camp supplies, but I don't need them urgently. I've actually got quite a few camp supplies
Sylvanas,
at the
guide
moment.
your path.
So let's come down this way.
Here goes nothing.
Nearly ready.
Oh, there's a backpack there. With nothing in it. Oh, dagger, heavy.
Very well.
There's a heavy crossbow just sitting there, not doing anything.
I think I'd make a fine teacher, or a baker, or a butcher.
And a mace and a couple of
Sure.
daggers.
Don't touch me.
I don't know if I should be going into that chest or not.
Well, that ends not as bad as it could have.
Yeah, I guess we'll do it. We'll pick the chest.
Let's crack it open.
That's annoying. That is a bug, and it sometimes it actually does use the thieves' tools. I don't remember how many I had prior to that. It would be interesting to look back through the playthrough. I have had times where I am positive that it uses the thieves' tools. It's not supposed to use them up if you're successful, only if you fail. And it doesn't do it with traps. The trap tools, which for some reason I don't seem to have any of. But the tools for dismantling traps don't get used up. But
Boots have seen everything.
sometimes those do. And it's very annoying because it's not supposed to be the case. When you actually look at the description,
Keep a blade close.
the tool breaks on an unsuccessful attempt, and yet it does sometimes break on a successful attempt when it's not supposed to.
Let's move.
Let's talk to this guy. Let's see what we can get.
Thanks for fighting off those goblins. If you need to, my selection's pretty slim. I had to leave most of my equipment in Elturel.
There's the great sword that I want. Right. What don't we want? We don't want that. Those. That. Or those. I'm going to keep that heavy crossbow. Not that I'm going to use it, but I might either give it to Lizelle, or if I replace Lizelle with another. Okay, so let's grab the great sword for me. it says 5 to 15, but in fact it'll be 9 to 15. What have you got in the way of armor? You got ringmail +1. Tempted to get it. It only improves my armor class by 1 though. Metallic boots. I could get them, and some metallic gloves. I don't need either of them really, but let's buy that. There we go. Sell them. Tempted to buy the helmet. I think I will. Much better. Sell the longsword, no thoughts, just do it. Battle axe, no. If it was a great axe, maybe. Could buy those metallic gloves and give them to Lizelle. How much is the ring armor +1? 280. Yeah, I'm going to buy it. Even though I like the look of this armor, it's only medium armor. And I don't have any dexterity bonus anyway, whereas this doesn't get bonuses from dexterity, and it's actually heavy armor. Which means it weighs more, but it's just... it's better for my build. I should be in heavy armor. I mean, I'd like to be in plate, but it's going to take a while to find that, I think. So let's sell that. No thoughts, no worries. Let's just do it. We don't need that loot. I think that's good. I mean, I could buy some different arrow types for Astarion. I don't think I will. I could also buy him some +1 padded armor. Lizelle has already got... she's got... that's medium armor, the half plate. But it's already better than what I've got. So she doesn't need anything extra. Could talk to these guys, but I don't feel like it at the moment. I want to go back to the other merchant quickly.
Nope, doing it. We're exposed now.
And
Roland shows off his thunder wave.
actually, no, I thought I had something here that I could do. Guess not. I was positive there was something I bought.
Can't give up now.
Alright, anyway, let's come back to this guy. Let's grab...
Need anything else? Of course, but please, remember...
See, he's got 0 coin now. So I can't sell anything to him. Which is not right. I'm positive I bought some reagents off him and they've disappeared. Oh, well, they would be in the alchemy pouch, I guess. Rogue's Morsel. I should be able to combine those into salts, but it didn't let me but a minute ago.
Sylvanus be with you.
It's not listing them. Oh. Okay, I had to somehow do extract all ingredients. Whatever that means. Even though they weren't listed there, it did actually make some stuff out of them, and now I can make the potion of healing. Okay. Another interface which is bugged. But I got another potion of healing out of it.
Need anything else? Of course, but please remember, you're not the only one in need.
Yeah, I know. What was I thinking I wanted? That's no good for Lizelle. She's already got just as good as that. Oh, that's right. I wanted the Thieves' Tools and those. Let's... Ooh, 140 and 175. Actually, let's not. And I don't really need camp supplies. Yeah, no, let's leave it at this.
Sylvanus be with you.
I think I will give this to the heavy crossbow to Lizelle.
Nuggets will be done.
We might just send that to camp.
I've got a long road ahead.
How many rests? We've still got one rest to go.
As my feet can carry me.
I think what we'll do, because we haven't done... this, this building over here that I pointed out earlier. We'll go back there, we'll fight the guys outside, and then we'll go and rest in the camp, and then we'll go and do the inside.
They're survivors, not soldiers.
I fail to see the distinction.
I was joking about the suit just a moment ago.
Come on, Rick.
And now what? We dig a hole and be done with him?
We could say a prayer.
Don't mind if I do.
Awesome. That. The other place we're going to go is up there. Very, well, not very soon. Actually, I could do it immediately, I guess. And then come back and do this. Yeah, let's do it. Actually, a little bit convoluted to get up there. You've got to get up this way, but I think you've got to jump up onto this rock first. I don't think you can just... Oh, I can. Alright. Wait for them all to catch up. Full save, actually. Curious to see what this interaction is going to be like as a paladin.
That's curious.
I expected an interaction up here. Maybe I need to be level 3 for this interaction to take place.
Necklace has a Harper sigil. Why were they here?
Oh, I don't know. Looking for whatever the dragon was hunting for?
At the back of the crevice lies a bag enfolded in the chitinous squabbling of spiders. A shiny gold coin pokes from its mouth. The creatures clutch the pouch possessively. You have no doubt. A spider egg is nestled within.
I don't think I'm going to make this, but...
The spiders skitter about, more nervous than before.
Oh! Talk
The
about luck.
spiders scatter, and you stash the bag. Something clinks among the coins.
So there is a spider egg sac in there. I think you can throw that and spiders burst out over people. Don't know that I want that pouch. I might just drop that. I might give that to Gale. Need to give that to Astarion. That can go to camp.
Charmed, I'm sure.
No one back home will ever believe this. Let's have a look.
Okay, silver ingots. I think that's going to go back to the camp.
Don't waste a step.
Be able to use that in the future to make something. Which means I will completely forget about it and not even bother selling it.
So, you know about these parasites. Will we survive them?
Only if my people extract them. The only other cure is the blade.
Okay. Wonderful.
You! Not another step, hear me? Boss! Got company up here!
What's this then?
Trying to creep around us and loot the crypt? Not happening. Or is it the ship you're after? Don't matter either way. It's ours. All of it.
I know that'll work. Like, I don't have to do any rolls. I know it will just... They will just leave. I'm positive of it. If I pick that one, they will fight. And I sort of want to, but I think I'm going to pick the Paladin one here and see if they leave. Pretty sure they will. Oh, it is a... It's still an intimidation check. Alright. I thought it was going to be automatic. Oh. Only just passed.
Well, in that case, come on, you lot. No point in getting killed. Second worm gets the cheese and all.
Second mouse gets the cheese, no?
Nobody's getting any damn cheese. Now move it.
It would have been quicker to kill them.
Yeah, it would have been quicker. And oh, actually, Gale,
Your desire.
your time to shine. You throw his fire bolts at all of these patches of the twisting vines. You don't have to worry about them snagging you. They just all burn up. It is very, very nice. I think that's all of them. Oh no, there's twisting vines out there too. And there.
No time to rest.
There you go. We haven't picked up a shovel yet. I gotta get a shovel. I'm gonna give the torch to Gale, even though, well, he should be able to cast a light cantrip, but he doesn't. He doesn't know it yet. Some stupid reason that wasn't as part of his build. When you level up and you get the chance to add a cantrip, you definitely want to add a light cantrip to him. It is super useful. But for now, we will just get him, and you just click this little torch light source, because he's got the torch on him. He will swap out his melee weapon for a torch. I would use it myself, but I find the game doesn't swap it out before combat for you, and it becomes a hassle to try and swap weapons in combat. I think there's a way to do it, but whenever I've tried to do it, it hasn't. Well, okay, the time that I did it, I was testing out a
I'll take that.
this paladin build, but as a sword and board rather than as a two-handed. Just I wanted to see what it was going to be like, and when he had the torch takes up your main hand. It's not like some games where you can have your main weapon in one hand and the torch in the other. I would have preferred to have my main weapon in my main hand, and rather than having my shield in my offhand, I would rather have the torch there. But this treats the torch as a weapon. It's considered to be like a club, right? That also is a light source. But yeah, it's super annoying. It doesn't allow you, like, I have done playthroughs of Neverwinter Nights 2 as a swashbuckler, which is a class that you had in Neverwinter Nights 2. And, you know, rapier, light armor, fighter style thing, dex-based fighter style thing. And I would put the torch in my left hand as a way to make sure there was... Oh, excuse me. As a way to make sure there was plenty of light around.
Here we go.
And then fight with the rapier in my main hand, my right hand. But you can't do it in this game. And I think it's very silly. I think you should be able to have the torch in your offhand. But it considers the torch a weapon. And that's fine. I think you should be able to decide whether you want the torch to be a weapon or not. So until then, or until I can get Gale to have a light cantrip, or anybody else to have a light cantrip for that matter, I want someone in my party carrying a light.
I have to keep going.
Get Astarion to open the door for us.
With pleasure.
So we have 5 lockpicks. Used thieves' tools. Does he still have 5 lockpicks? He does. Okay, so it unsuccessful. It told us it used the tools when it didn't, but I have had times when it does use a lockpick, despite the fact that you have successfully picked the lock. It is a bug. I've seen it reported. I did a search online and found other people talking about it, both in the past and just recently. So it definitely appears, at least to me, to be a bug. Alright, let's go in here. Actually, I want Astarion to start in stealth, please.
Looking ahead.
The rest of us don't need to be, but if he's in stealth, he might be able to get a shot off on this guard as a sneak attack. Because Astarion pretty much always leads. Yep, sneak attack, and he is almost dead from that one attack. You don't need to be using that crossbow, thank you. You can come in here and bonk him over the head, thank you very much. That's another short sword for Astarion, so he can dual wield those now. Oh, he's already dual wielding those. Fine. Thought I gave him a dagger, but I can't remember. I must have found another one and don't remember it.
Can't give up now.
Yeah, I don't want to be carrying a torch, so we'll send that to camp. We'll send that to camp. Holy water, okay. Those can go to Gale. And we'll do the rest.
another step forward.
Just looking up because there are sometimes some braziers up high. I'll show you where they are later on, and if you don't have the mod that allows you to look up,
I sense another undead presence here.
you probably won't be able to
Not malevolent.
light them up. You need to use a spellcaster with Firebolt, but
Ancient, indecipherable text covers the plaque.
A dead tomb. Whoever worshipped here must be long gone.
multiple copies of all the books in here. But they're worth a little bit of coin, so I'll pick them all up. Most of this room is just supplies.
More for me.
Wonder if they're going to come through the door. Someone on the other side of that door said they need a drink.
Well, hello. Let's keep to the shadows.
Moving ahead.
I said I was going to rest, didn't I? So I'm low on health, and I'm not sure how many spells do you have?
Salutations.
Nothing except for cantrips and whatever scrolls we've got.
Have a lot on my mind and, well, in it.
That should more than suffice.
Have my attention.
Not great, but we'll see how we do.
Stopped me yet.
How'd you get past Andor? Back off!
It shall be done.
Victory awaits. Make way.
Still breathing, despite everything.
I don't want to get too close to that. In fact, I'm probably already too close to it.
Hey, someone's in here. Ugh.
And because Astarion is stealthed, don't know how to get him into combat.
Time to kill. Silent as the grave. Make it hurt.
No choice but to keep going.
I'll pull back.
Swords meet sorcery. Let's light them up.
Swift and lethal. On the move.
I want to be too bunched up. But I want to give my opponents enough room that they get close to that so that I can explode it.
Moving. Let's have a little fun.
Come on now. Damn it. Didn't want to do it yet, but I think I've got to. And he killed her.
I am fury. I am death.
Time to push my luck again. Breathe deep and move.
Step quick.
Right. Let's get rid of him first if we can. Yes, please. Sneak attack. And he's dead. Pull back and hide.
No trace.
Beautiful. Let's let you move forward a little bit. Okay, nothing you can do from this distance. Let's move you over to here. Any spells we've got that are going to... No, Burning Hands, Colour Spray, and that. Okay.
Time to strike.
Take another shot. Damn it, we missed.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Do I have anything else to throw? No, I was hoping I'd have a javelin or something. He's not close enough for me to compel the duel, so let's just wait there for him to come. Yeah, I can take that from the wizard. Yeah, he threw a javelin. Rightio. Can you take out the wizard for me? much.
Ready or not?
Okay, that's for hiding.
Assured.
Critical miss, damn it.
I am fury. I am death.
Nothing will stand in my way.
Kind of helpless without any missile weapons. That's alright. Alright. Level up for everybody. I don't want command. Not sure I want cure wounds either, to be honest. What else can I take apart from command? I want Wrathful Smite as an option. Divine Favor. Heroism. I don't like temporary hit points. I don't feel the use of them. Bless, I don't know, maybe. Command, no. Shield of Faith, no. I mean, it does increase armor class by 2 until long rest, but it requires concentration. And concentration is not an easy thing in D&D 5. So I prefer not to use, particularly on someone who's not a dedicated caster like a paladin, I prefer not to use concentration spells. Compel Jewel is concentration, but any of these smite ones are not. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. We've got Sacred Weapon now. Turn your weapon into a sacred weapon. It has a chance of hitting and emitting a bright light for 10 turns. And turn the Unholy. So we can start turning dead. That is nice. Okay. No. No, 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 no. You are not going to be a battle master. You are going to be a champion so that you can get the improved critical hit. So she will now critical on 19s and 20s. Much better. So that's that. Two new spells for you. Second level spells now. On save still takes half damage. It does require concentration though. Cloud of Daggers I think is probably pretty good. It is tempting to get it, but I think I want Shatter, and I think I want Scorching Ray. Because they're both evocations. I can take Cloud of Daggers later, or let's get Cloud of Daggers. We can always get Scorching Ray later, I guess. I'm not using Sleep, so let's put Cloud of Daggers where Sleep was, and I'm not using Witch Bolt, so let's put Shatter where that is. I haven't used Grease yet, but I can use Grease with Firebolt to start a fire, so we'll keep that. Okay. Do I go... See... Arcane Trickster is nice, right? But if I go Assassin, these abilities are actually good. So you are deadliest against unprepared enemies. In combat, you have advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't yet taken a turn. So if I attack someone who's behind me in the order, I have advantage on the attack rolls against them. So I do extra damage, extra chance to hit. It basically rolls twice to hit, and I take the best result. Ambush. Any successful attack against a surprise creature is a critical hit, which includes attacking before combat has started. So if I use Astarion to attack and initiate combat, it's automatically a critical hit. It will also, if he's in stealth, it'll be a critical sneak attack in most cases. And then Assassins of Clarity, quickly as an alley cat in a Rain Dark City, you immediately restore your action and bonus action at the start of combat. So if I use him to start combat, see, normally if I use someone to start combat like that, theirs was the first action in combat, so that's the end of their turn. Or at least they've used their action and they can still move, and they can have a bonus action, but they wouldn't be able to attack. But if I use him to start combat using that attack, he then still gets another attack. That's the other build that I love playing, is Assassin in this. And literally, it was a toss-up. This playthrough was a toss-up between me playing my character as an assassin with this guy as a arcane trickster, and then playing off each other. Because as an arcane trickster, there are some good spells that you can get that really help. So if you use Minor Illusion, which you can use when silenced. So you can use Minor Illusion when you're stealthed and it doesn't break stealth, right? So you can use that to get people's attention and help to set up a situation where you can get them to move a little bit or whatever, so that you can get into a good position to sneak attack them, right? So let's say they're in a position where you can't get a good shot at them, for example. You could put the illusion over somewhere and get them to move towards it, which gets you in a really good position without having to move and potentially break stealth and be discovered. So that one's quite good. True Strike means you get advantage on your next attack roll. That can be really good as a rogue. And then in the spells, the first level spells, Sleep, as soon as you take, as soon as you put a creature to sleep, any attacks against them are automatically critical hits, right? So Sleep is a great way to get an enemy that you can do crits on, as is Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Anyone who gets knocked prone by Tasha's Hideous Laughter is automatically able to be critted. Color Spray blinds them, which again gives you an advantage and allows you to crit them. Charm Person, maybe not quite so good, but like those three are really good for a rogue who wants to get opponents into a position where they can critical hit. So I mean, if I was doing this, and I think I will keep him as an arcane trickster, but man, I've done a little bit of a playthrough where, not gone too much further than where I am right now, really, but I have built another playthrough, deleted it, I'm going to restart it, and I don't know whether I'm going to stream it or not, but I've done another playthrough as a rogue, and my character is an assassin, and I've got Astarion in the party as well, although I might again kick Astarion out and at level 3 hire a mercenary to replace him, a mercenary rogue, who I will level up as a arcane trickster in his place. But yeah, they just, like, I have literally, with my assassin, I've literally gone into a battle, and I've stayed in stealth the entire time, and it's literally just been, even though my entire party's been there, it's been me and the group of opponents, and I have literally just sniped them all and killed them all from a distance with sneak attacks, and they've just stood there and had no idea where I was and what I was doing. And it was purely those assassin abilities to, because what would happen is it would shoot and kill one of them, and that would end combat, and then I could sneak to another position and get to the next one, and I would attack, which would be outside of combat. It would start the combat, it would make they would be surprised, so it would make the attack automatically a critical hit, and it was a sneak attack, so it would do even more damage. And if it didn't kill them, I would immediately be back as my go, and I could go into stealth again, and then take another attack, which would be again a sneak attack, and it would usually kill them, and then that would end combat, and I would move on to the next one. And you could just do this over and over and over again. And I might even start that other playthrough tomorrow and show that, and I'll just alternate between these playthroughs or whatever. But that assassin is just so much fun to do. But I think I'll keep him as this. So let's take... I normally don't like True Strike, but I definitely want Minor Illusion, I think. Blade Ward seems like it would be vaguely useful as well, but I think I'll take True Strike. And then in the spells, we definitely want Tasha's Hideous Laughter. And I think Sleep is the better option over Colour Spray, because Colour Spray is just 5 meters in front of you, whereas Sleep is you get to pick up to 24 hit points of creatures within 18 meters of you. And Colour Spray only lasts for one turn. Even though it can do 33 hit points of creatures, it only lasts for one turn. So Sleep lasts a little bit longer. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is over a bit more of a distance as well. And then we get one more spell just from the expanded list. Now, out of all of these, there are some other ones. You've got the same ones, but some others as well. But I think probably one of the better ones is Ice Knife. Ice Knife does an incredible amount of damage for a first level spell. 3 to 22 points of damage. There really isn't much else. Shield would be good because it's a reaction and could be useful. Mage Armor only works if you aren't wearing armor, so that doesn't help my Starion unless he wants to strip his armor off, although he might have to do his spells. I don't know if he's going to have problems casting his spells. I don't think he does, but hopefully he won't. Things like Long Stride, Enhanced Jump, and Expeditious Retreat are also really nice for the rogue. Just they're ways to get the hell out of dodge, sort of thing, to get out of trouble when you're in close. And Grease can be a really nice one because you can cast it underneath a group of enemies and they all go prone. When they're prone, you get sneak attacks. I think that's the one I'm going to take, actually. Right, let's quickly loot these bodies. And then I think what we'll do is we'll end the day, head to camp. Am I missing bodies? No, there's a torch there.
Always room for more?
We need to long rest. I like this. I saw this the other day. You can, because when we're here, rather than going to the outside campsite, it does it set up in this location, which I think is really nice. I'm going to leave it here for this stream, though. When we come back next time, we will finish talking to, Gale wants to talk to us, and we'll rest up and get ready, and we'll head back and we'll finish off this dungeon. But I think it's been a good start. This is a nice build. This Paladin, I'll just quickly go over it again if you weren't aware of what I'm doing with this build. So we are a Paladin, so that gives us the various smites, our various smiting abilities, which do an extra radiant damage, so an extra 2d8 damage. And they use spells that are set up in our slot, but that's fine. And we've got as many of those as we've got spells that we can cast per day, so that's like 5 of them. Now, we've actually got it set up at the moment. We should have it set up. No, we haven't. I keep forgetting to do it. We can have it set up so that it automatically does a Divine Smite on a critical hit, or on a normal hit, where it asks us if we want to use our Divine Smite. And I want that to happen more, but we can also pick the smites that we want. Now, so that adds some extra damage, but this is a DPS build. This is a crit DPS build, and let me explain why. So this greatsword here does 2d6 plus 3. So it rolls 2 6-sided dice, adds the results together, adds 3 to that. And that is how much damage it does. So that's how you get 5 to 15. But I have great weapon fighting. And what that does is if I roll a 1 or a 2 on either or both of those dice, it re-rolls. Now, it can re-roll a 1 or a 2. But what it effectively means is that most of the time, I'm not going to be doing 5 to 15 points of damage. I'm in fact going to be doing 9 to 15 points of damage, because if it rolls a 1 or a 2 on both of those dice, they're going to be re-rolled. It's not always going to be 9 to 15, but it's going to, it's going to be better than most of the time. It's going to be better than 5 to 15. Now, if I critical hit with this weapon, which is when I roll a 20 to hit, that's on a 20-sided dice, I roll a 20, I will crit. And all weapons are crits on 20 in this game. It's not like some of the other games where you can have some weapons that crit on 19 or 20 or 18, 19 or 20. They all just are on 20. Now, if I roll a 20, I crit. Normally, you do double damage. So rather than 2d6 plus 3, it's 4d6 plus 3. But I'm an orc, and I have savage attacks. And when I land a critical with a melee attack weapon, I do an extra dice worth of weapon damage. So I now do 6d6 plus 3 on a critical. But it gets even better because my Searing Smites also, my Divine Smites also plug into there and do ridiculous amounts of damage. So if I can crit, I'm going to, with the great weapon fighting and the savage attacks and the fact that this weapon, there's only 2 weapons in the game that use two dice. There's only two-handed weapons in the game that use 2 dice rather than 1. And that is the greatsword and the maul. Either of those would be a perfect weapon here. I mean, any 2-handed weapon is good because I roll a 1 or a 2 on those, it re-rolls. But the fact that there's 2 dice that it's going to re-roll pushes that lower end of damage higher every single time. And so I think I worked it out earlier. Even before we add in the damage from a Divine Smite, I was doing 18 to 36 damage. 21 to 36 damage on a critical hit with just 1 hit. And when you consider that I have, 56 hit points here, and most of my opponents will have less than that. If we go back through the history, I don't know what Toreg, how many hit points he had initially, but I know most of those guys that we attacked didn't have more than about 20 hit points. This build is insane. And now that I've got 3 levels of Paladin, which gives me, great weapon fighting and all of that sort of stuff, I'm now thinking about taking 3 levels of Fighter, because if I take the same feature that Lizelle has, she grabbed improved critical hits because we took Champion at 3rd level for her, and improved critical hits means that she can crit with her weapon on a 19 or a 20, which means rather than 5% of the time having a critical hit, she will crit 10% of the time. If I can get that as well, I will be critting 10% of the time, plus doing the extra damage on a crit, plus putting Divine Smite on top of that. It means the amount of damage output that this character can have is insane. And you're not a glass cannon like a rogue can be. You know, rogues can be, if your rogue gets into a situation where they get surrounded in combat or whatever, if you can't maintain that sneak, if you can't keep away from your opponents and you get stuck in the front line or close to the front line and you've got enemies all around you, you're not going to survive very well as a rogue. You're just not designed for that in combat. Having said that, you know, Astarion as a level 3 rogue has 48 hit points compared to my 56 and Lazelle's 56. So he's not far behind, really. But you don't want your rogues up there next to your fighters in combat. Right behind them, waiting to get a sneak attack, yes. But if they're facing off with an opponent, that's not the best place for them. So rogues can be a little bit of a glass cannon, and they're the sort of character that the mages and the archers in the back will target if they can see them. So you have to be careful about that as well. Anyway, that's my build. We haven't seen it yet, so hopefully next time we stream it, we'll be able to see it. But I'm really enjoying how this build has gone. I'm really enjoying... I'm enjoying Baldur's Gate 3 as much as I can for right now. There's still a few bugs, as I've shown, in the interface and things like that. This whole thing about saying that sometimes you have used up thieves' tools when you pick a lock, when you in fact haven't. And other times it actually does use up the thieves' tools, even though you successfully picked the lock. That's a little bit annoying. You know, there's a few other little weird things in the interface at times. The fact that when I tried to use some crafting earlier, it said I didn't have anything I could craft, but there actually was stuff that I could craft. Oh, look, now I can create the greater healing potion. But I don't have the salt. Okay. So yeah, there's a whole heap of stuff like that that just is not 100% in there. And it's a Larian Studios game, and I have problems with their games because they build them to be, they build them to be unwinnable is the way I put it. I've played a little bit of Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, and you go into those fights, and it's like, if you don't... You almost have to do the fights multiple times to learn what are all the little tricks. Like, what's all the stuff on the ground around the opponents that you didn't notice the first time, or, you know, this opponent is likely to do this, so how can I find a way around it? And that's not how you should be playing a game like this. In particular, a tabletop role-playing game. If that was the level of difficulty in a tabletop role-playing game, no one would play them, because that's just, you know, killing your party every time and you have to restart. You don't restart in tabletop role-playing games. When your party dies, that's the end of the game type of thing. The whole save and reload mechanic is fine for computer role-playing, but it's not actually something that you should be banking on in a game. The game should be balanced enough that in this sort of game that that you can get through. It's not, you shouldn't be losing, it shouldn't be a total party kill every single battle, and that's what a lot of Larian games are like. And that's why I played this on the easiest level to begin with, because my previous experience with this game was that, yes, it really was much harder, I felt, than it should be, and there weren't any difficulty levels then. It was like the other Larian games where this is the game, and you put up with it, and that's it. But now that they've got multiple difficulty levels, I wanted to try out the lowest level and see how it went. So, anyway, enough of me rambling on. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you to everyone who came along and stopped in to say hello while I was playing. I tried to reply to some people when I saw their messages. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.